Hello there, my friends. Welcome to the Glow Up Method. Hello there. My name is Natasha. I am so honored to be your host today. What is the Glow Up Method? The Glow Up Method is all about life transformation, personal growth, personal development, all in this pursuit to live a life that makes you proud. So, what are some of the things that you are doing that maybe don't make you feel proud? Like, are you, self-sacrificing? Are you being a martyr? Are you maybe, not exploring the things that you're passionate about? That's what we're here to discover and figure out together. Like, this is, in my experience here, I went from this person who didn't take care of themselves at all. Honestly, like I've said on here before, felt like self-care was the most selfish thing in the world. If I saw anybody going to the nail salon, getting their hair done, going to lunch by themselves, going out with their friends, I was like, oh, I had this conception in my mind that they were not, a good mom, or they were not a good wife. I was passing judgment, and probably I was passing judgment because inside I knew I should be doing it, but it was like everything that I was ever taught and learned myself, like acquired as a survival skill, was to not take care of myself, to self-sacrifice, to again, listen to them say, put on your own face mask first if there's an emergency when you're on a plane, and always wanting to rescue somebody else and just letting myself falter. And so the beauty of this journey has really been the realization that I matter. And that if I take care of myself, and that doesn't mean I can't accept people helping me or taking care of me too, but if I take care of myself, then I am able to better care for and contribute to the community as a whole, to my kids, to my significant other, to my friends, to my family. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It is essential. So I am here as a big self-care advocate, a recovering, believer that self-care is selfish, person. And I'm like, I was wrong. I've grown. I understand its importance. Wisdom and hindsight is just a beautiful thing to do. And it's not something to dwell on, right? It's not like, why didn't I do this sooner? No, it's about being grateful that you're finally doing it. Just like this project I've been working on, great news. I have a conditional approval and not too many conditions for the approval. Like, none of them seem too crazy for me as my ex-processor loan, officer, mind. But obviously I don't work with this company very often and I'm a little rusty. So I am thinking things are moving in the right direction. And again, years have gone by since I've done anything on this project, but now it is the right time. Now, the situation with Chris was enough of a kick in the butt. It was enough of a rock bottom to be like, enough is enough. I am not going to depend on anyone else, and I'm going to pursue my dreams and not let myself get in the way. And oftentimes that's what it is. It's not anyone else imposing that I must do these things and I have to, not, take care of myself. No, these are my choices. They're my choices to prioritize my family. They're my choices to prioritize other ventures and things. And now here we are, and everything, the stars, the moon, everything is aligning, and I'm fingers crossed, because again, conditions are conditions. And until that, fat juicy check is in my hand and I am signing a contract with the contractors and I am getting on the train to get all this stuff done, I am cautiously optimistic. I am so thrilled that all the things that have occurred, right? Like every single stinking moment has led to this one. And that I'm not just doing things in haste, that I am still pursuing my passion and what I have wanted to bring into this world for so long. And to have this extra ability to do it is something really special and significant for me. So I'm really, really grateful for everybody who's had a hand in in educating me and in helping to facilitate, my dreams by just working, by like showing up, I really do believe the key to success is like for someone like me who didn't take care of themselves. I do believe that there's a time in life where you are to be selfish. If you are not there, I needed to be super selfish and in my own opinion of selfish. And actually, I did get some feedback that, I'm being selfish. And I understand when you give your life to everyone else, this is the expectation, right? Like when you are readily available, when they're benefiting from your sacrifices, when, they're benefiting from your lack of self-care in many ways. And they're also not benefiting because you're not showing up that nice, right? Like you're deprived, you're exhausted, you're anxious, you have your own kind of, reactions to this lack of self-care. And the people you love and care, they're around you. So they feel it too. So, I really do believe that there is a time that you need to peel the onion back, like peel back those layers. You do need to do some one-on-one soul searching. You need to do some one-on-one, like establishing of new boundaries, establishing of new habits. And it's a process. It's not an overnight thing. You need to be consistent and gain confidence. And what's the opposite of confidence? It's doubt, right? Like you doubt yourself. And when you doubt yourself or those around you, you become insecure, right? Like you don't trust that they're going to be there. So many times within our relationship, I didn't trust Chris to be a good dad, or I didn't trust Chris to be a provider. I didn't trust Chris to support me. And every time there was an occasion in which he didn't, it validated this doubt I had in my mind. Whereas now I'm looking at the situation very differently because I've done my own self-searching. I have become so familiar with who I am and familiar with my own intentions, and understand that even though I don't do things perfectly or at the right time or the right way, it doesn't mean I'm not trustworthy. It doesn't mean I'm not telling the truth. It doesn't mean that I don't have the best of intentions. It's just sometimes execution isn't always as we had hoped or planned. And so I do believe that, growth comes and it's this multifaceted thing, right? But you have to do the one-on-one first. We can't jump. I had talked about here before. At the same time that I started working on myself, we began, Chris and I, working. And I was like juggling too much. It was, hearing Chris's needs and his disapproval with my changes and his doubts and insecurities come up, made me want to protect him and change it. And so I kind of was having this power struggle, like I'm trying to take care of myself, but I still need to take care of him. And then I still have kids and I still have all these other things. Then I had kids that had, 2 major surgeries within a couple months of each other. Then all the aftermath of that, of PT and the effects on me and kids coming and going from college and just this too much at one time for me to do. And it was too easy for me to sacrifice me. That was still part of my right-handed default setting. I was the least squeaky of the wheels. I was used to being neglected. I was, in a way, comfortable being uncomfortable. But the thing is because I had done work, because I had seen the light, I didn't feel comfortable self-sacrificing anymore. And so there was this power struggle within me where it was like suddenly, I was taking care of myself, and now suddenly I was taking care of this relationship, but I really wasn't on steady enough ground myself. I really didn't have that one-on-one relationship with myself to really be able to grow upon. And so I told Chris, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't focus on you and we and me at the same time. And that's tough, right? But I needed to be brutally honest. I wasn't able to do it. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't confident enough. I wasn't secure enough. And I wasn't really sure that that's what I wanted anymore. I wasn't really sure if this type of relationship was healthy for me. I was in this exploration, and I wanted to explore so many different parts of me. I wanted to explore, did I want to be with Chris? Did I feel like I was choosing to be with him? Was his at that time, because he was going through his own things and a lot of insecurities based on the results of our relationship. But was I really wanting to be with somebody, like being with somebody with his temperament and his outlook on life was so opposite of mine. And it was challenging for me to be around somebody who was more pessimistic, who was more negative and more complaining. And I found myself having to constantly struggle to be in a room with him because it was draining on me. And so I had that inner conflict, and I just said, I really need to just focus on me instead of the we. And I want you to focus on you instead of the we, so that we can grow independently, so that we can grow in a healthy way, not for one another, but for ourselves. And so I felt like it's a progression. I'm never going to be done working on me, right? I'm never going to be done with this, but I have reached a place where I have confidence. I have reached a place where I can work on multiple. I can use the tools and the practice that I've gained from working on myself, and now expand it a little bit further to the real dynamic of somebody else, whether it be my kids, my friends, my family, my significant other. I now know, and I'm curious, right? Like, I know how to ask questions. I know how, when I start feeling self-doubt or things like that, like in a relationship, now's the time to talk. Like, now's the time to be like asking myself the questions, like, what's going on? What's bringing up these things? And to really take that time. But that's because I have nurtured this safe space within myself, because I have this experience with many things, like what's going on when I don't, want to go to the gym, or what's going on, like having that exploration within myself has now built that confidence. And to know that, like, here, with the consistency, with discipline, with an open mind, with curiosity, look at all you have achieved in many different avenues of your life. Are you perfect? No, never gonna be. Like, I'm not gonna say that. Like, I'm over here, people. I'm just being a human over here, being human as a human being. Like, that is me, imperfectly me. And but now I'm in a position where I can incorporate somebody as intimately close as a partner in my life, and see how to navigate that. And that's where I currently am. And then the next layer is going into the community, right? Like, and that's what we are doing here. I kind of wanted to skip and I nurture a lot of the one-on-one relationships, outside of the gym and, within the communities and things like that. But it's a very different thing. And, I just have this desire to give back. And I want you to understand that it's okay for you, like, wherever you're at, to take care of you. And I feel like I need to say that again. Like, it is okay to take care of you. And I know from experience that not everybody around you is going to get it. Not everyone, in some ways, is going to even believe you deserve it. And that's okay. That's their work to work on. And I had to used to say that to myself all the time. When Chris would have an objection, or my kids would like, you're just being selfish and going to the gym. I only had one kid say that, but you know what I mean? Like, you're just doing these things and you're not here to do all these other things for us. And it made me question, like, am I being selfish because I'm not home to cook 7 days a week? And I had to ask myself, like, what is my definition of being a good mom? Does it mean I'm cooking for them 7 days a week and there for their every single service that women need? No, they're not little anymore. To be frank, they're 17, 19, 23, and 25. And I know that part of the way they are is a result of the way that I treated them, right? Like, the things that I was enabling in them, the things that I taught them, the things that I helicopter parented around them. I after having kids that were so, an anaphylaxis and nearly died, a brain tumor nearly died, heart surgery nearly died. Like, it's no wonder, right? Like, it's no wonder I want to protect them. It's no wonder I want to guide them. Like, there's no shame in why I did the things I did. it just maybe I could have done things a little bit different. Now I didn't. We can't go back in time. I shapeshift, right? Like I'm learning. And so I'm a different parent to my youngest son than I was my third son, my second daughter, and my oldest son, right? Like I'm different. I've changed. They're different people. And that's just the way it is. And that's the evolution of life. So I have to ask myself, do I feel selfish because I'm not there to cook every meal or do the dishes for them or do their laundry? No, I'm there most of the time. There's food. I prepare things, and we do have meals together. Do I feel it's selfish when they're in a class or at work or with their friends? No, they're just being them, having their experience. So I can give that grace back to myself. And that took a long time though, because I felt this guilt and this pull to just be there for people, because that's what Natasha does. Natasha is there for people. Do you ever feel like that? Like you're the dependable one, you're the one that doesn't cause any problems. You always did everything right. And it didn't really maybe always benefit you, but it didn't give you any disadvantages except for within yourself, right? Because sometimes doing what's right doesn't feel right within you. And, what I am learning and practicing is that we are the center of our own universes. And there's nothing wrong with it. I feel like taking care of yourself in some ways, it's this fine line, right? Especially when, Chris and I were separated and you get, I don't know who in the algorithms, will do things. And then suddenly I'm getting constantly things like, okay, divorce, like trying to get tips and separation. And how do you deal with these things? Is he's a narcissist. It's like some of these words, gaslight. Listen, I'm not even saying anything about his personality. I'm saying, how do I get through it? Well, how is me labeling him and diagnosing him as something or not, how is that moving the ball forward? Like at this point, the relationship was over, right? Like, so me knowing or me, whatever, right? And is he who in the TikTok or who in the, Facebook are we to say, you're going to take me saying I'm separating as this is what he is, So, it's very interesting. And I think it's so easy to find labels and things like that to almost excuse behaviors. But here's the thing, we can always change, right? Like we have our own morality and we have our own inner voice. And I think oftentimes, like for me, I just would silence it. I didn't listen to it. I didn't always believe it, and the wiser and older I get, the more and more I feel it as a light that's guiding me into the next direction, into the next, place of life, the next that I'm going to be in. And so, I really want you to begin to practice really taking time one-on-one with yourself. It could be done in so many beautiful ways, right? I've talked about this in exhaustion, how I love meditating now. And it was something, again, I had a lack of confidence. I doubted myself. I didn't think I could sit that long. I thought I'd fall asleep. I, didn't know how to do it. I was thinking other thoughts. I had the monkey brain, the this, the that. When you just sit down and do it and take all the other things and maybe say, oh, you know what? I'm not going to meditate perfect, but guess what? I've never been in anybody else's head. So I don't know, like I define what meditating is for me and I define where it is and how it's done. Like this is about me. I'm not in competition with somebody else to say you meditate better than me or I meditate better than you. That's missing the whole point. It's about really getting quiet and learning how to listen to yourself and have this platform where you can shut out all the distractions that are going around you. Again, not always easy. Some days easier than others. Some days more challenging. I gotta close that. Hello there. And so that it's just a practice again. Taking walks, right? Or whatever it is in your house, you could, I walk in my house sometimes, but getting outside and detoxing from the electronics or the sounds of things that are constantly distracting us and interrupting us from the directions that we want to go in. and having that time and that appreciation for what's around you. Like, I'm so appreciative right now. Like, I've had a crazy morning. I thought my son had a hair appointment. I never fully confirmed it, so we were there, like, but I got this time in the car with him to chat, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I know you've wanted a haircut, like, you can't see his eyes, and he's like, don't even worry about it, we'll get it Tuesday, we'll get it done. Cool kid, right? Like, I went and had a doctor's appointment, met an interesting Iranian technician. She was talking about her son, who's this old wise soul, and she was saying, her and her husband were having these difficulties, and they were having an argument, and they were like, oh, let's just separate, let's just divorce, and this little wise 6-year-old is like, mommy and daddy, like, you don't like a seatbelt where this is mommy and this is daddy, and if you guys aren't there, then it's like me having no seatbelt. You guys are my safety. And like, oh my gosh, 6-year-old, hello. Like, this is where I love talking to people, is like, you hear the most profound things. And I don't feel like there's any coincidences. Like, that's like really sticking with me. Like, how cool is of this young child to make this connection of the safety of his parents, and both pieces are needed to make him feel safe. And again, part of it is our own thing, right? Like, it's our responsibility to make ourselves feel like, no, people can contribute, but ultimately it's up to us. But this 6-year-old, I thought this was such a fascinating vision of the world, and a way to articulate that to his parents. And again, if you're in an unhealthy situation, the 6-year-old may not see, like, hey, we're still there, we're just not together, or whatever it is, right? Like, I'm not saying that means that everybody has to stay together. But I do see that there is just a beauty in the way that everybody in their own unique way sees the world, whether you're 6 or whether you're 66, right? I want to say it's okay. Like, I feel like I never had the permission to take care of myself. Again, who didn't give me the permission? I blame nobody but myself. And like I said on here, it doesn't mean it's always received with open arms. The people around you, their lives are going to change as you change. Your prioritization of them and their needs will shift. And it doesn't mean that they're not important, and it doesn't mean that their needs and concerns aren't heard or, accommodated if you want. But it does mean there is some kind of sacrifice or change within the dynamic of those relationships. And if you're benefiting from the relationship, if someone is benefiting from me always being available and always there to help, when that changes, they don't like it, right? So if they had dinners cooked 7 meals a week, and plus, breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks, prepared, everything, and suddenly that stops, well, they're not asking for that to stop. They didn't want it to stop. And yes, they love the benefits of having a happy mom and seeing her, light up. But then their personal needs may not always being met, even if they can meet them on their own, right? Like a 25-year-old, a 23-year-old, completely capable, a 19 and even a 17-year-old, capable of making meals, for themselves. Every meal does not need to be a 10, especially when you have so many things here. Like, I grew up on a lot of sandwich days, so sandwich dinners or breakfast dinners. So, I mean, there's options. There's, I can understand if there's no options, but there's plenty of options here. So I want to say, this is just my reminder to you today to take care of yourself, to really curiously discover what it is you need, and to nurture and cultivate that relationship with yourself, to build the confidence, to build the trust, to build this beautiful version of yourself that is trying to understand what does make you feel proud that you do. And if it makes you feel proud and somebody else is trying to negate that, you don't have to accept it in. And if you know in your gut that you're doing good and you have good intentions, that's what matters most. It's so easy to judge from looking aside. Like I said, those moms that, were dressed cute at the park and, had their nails done and their hair did, I, for a lack of my own security, judged them. But I never walked a day in their shoes to understand their experience, maybe they were more evolved than I was. Maybe they knew that in order to be a good mom and take their kid to the park, they needed to take that time to get their hair done. They needed to take that time to get their nails done. And it's their life. Who am I over here to judge what they're doing? So, it has been a humbling experience to grow, and it's been a challenge. It's not always easy, right? You're rewriting programming that has been built in you so that you can survive, so that I would be okay with not taking care of myself. I created these stories that these other people were not good moms and all these things so that I could feel like I could survive this pit in my stomach, this ache in my heart, this emptiness inside of me. And so I really, really want you to continue to explore, to journal, meditate, walk, whatever it is, to practice for a few minutes a day, understanding you, because you are the center of the universe. So, and then I want to say, please take a moment, and I'm giving you all these things to do today, but take a moment and give yourself a big smile, give yourself a compliment. Today, my compliment is, I loved my energy in my class today. My instructor won't be there next week. So I was like, I'm leaving it all on the dance floor today, the gym floor, I should say. And so I'm really, really proud of how I showed up today and pushed myself to, create all this energy within and then share it with my little dance community. And then I really want you to go out there today and give somebody else a big smile, give them a compliment. Whether you have enough in you or you don't, you can just kind of fake it till you make it. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And the more beautiful it becomes when you see somebody glow up in front of you. It is magic. So go out there and be this force in the universe that enlightens people and brings out the best in them. So, and yourself, most importantly. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Mwah. Bye.